Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyāntirandasya Anandashalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamikam Tadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Prabhupada Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Shri Śaṅkarānanda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namoste Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vacha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva ca Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, this is Independence Day weekend. And independence is something which is very much cherished by people in this world. Everybody likes to be independent, right? But actually speaking, in this world there is no question of being fully independent, because we can never be independent. So, independence or the celebration of so-called Independence Day is actually a myth, just to satisfy and make people feel that they are actually independent. But actually, we are not independent anyway. I remember every country has their own history about independence, right? For example, if you study American history, they have their own history of how people were very much oppressed by slavery and things like that, and how they got independence. And similarly, British, if you go, they have their own history, and how they ruled the entire world, and they brought so many nice things to the whole world. But if you go to India and read the history, they'll say, oh, British was such an evil empire. They ruined the culture. So every country has their own history, and how they were actually free from the oppression of some other rule and became independent. should try to analyze, even after the independence, the country's situations, and this is not just for one, but practically every country, situations remain same. One time, Prabhu was actually having arguments with one of the press reporters. The press was saying that, we are such an advanced country. Prabhu said, what advanced we are? We haven't so much advancement. We want to move, and we are so much advanced in technology, we have motor cars. And Prabhupada said, but that's not the sign of advancement. So if you go to the countries, third world nations, they have the problems, everybody takes birth, everybody grows old, everyone becomes diseased, and everyone dies. In your country also, people take birth, they grow old, they become diseased, and they eventually die. And even 100 years ago, same thing was happening. People were taking birth, they were growing old, they were becoming diseased, and they were dying. And now also people are dying. They are growing old, they are becoming diseased, they are dying. So what advancement have you done? 100 years ago, people were doing same. Their situation was same. Birth, death, old age, disease, problems were there. Now also the problems are there. So what real advancement we have done? Prabhupada gave some credit, yes. The dog is running on the 4 legs and you are running on the 4 wheels. That's the only difference. But we are running. And we are still facing same problems. So, actually speaking, there is no independence. In our schools, we were taught, one freedom fighter in India especially, his slogan was, independence is our birthright. स्वराज हमारा जन्म से अधिकार है. Lokmaanya Tilak. His slogan was, independence is our birthright. But actually, as soon as you are born, becoming diseased, becoming old and dying, that comes with your birth. So, becoming diseased, old and dying, that's our birthright. The birth will, this will definitely come. No independence. And Srila Prabhupada has a very beautiful class on, let's declare our dependence on God. As long as we remain independent, or think that we are independent, we continue the cycle of birth and death. But the moment we declare our dependence on Kṛṣṇa, that Kṛṣṇa, from now on, I am dependent on you. Whatever you want, I will simply do it. And we actually become independent by declaring our dependence on Kṛṣṇa. The true independent people are those who depend on Kṛṣṇa. So Bhakti Thakur wrote a really beautiful bhajan. Tumi Sarveshwara Prajendra Kumar. In that he says that I have given up all the faith in my own abilities. Now I am dependent on you, your mercy, Kṛṣṇa. Swacheshta prati bharasa chhadiya, tumhara ichhaya nirbhar rahiya. He says, my own endeavors, I have given up my faith on their own endeavors. But now I am fully dependent on you, my Lord. That's our real independence. And this whole conception or idea of independence actually is born of the desire to lord it over material nature. Because living entity wants to lord it over material nature, therefore, because the living entity has a desire to lord it over material nature, therefore, being dependent on somebody else causes tremendous fear. Just imagine, why everybody wants to be independent? I mean, if I'm working in some company, for example, Right? So whenever the economy goes down, everybody starts feeling fear, right? Oh, anytime there will be layovers, and I could be let go, right? So that the fear is there, right? The fear is because if I'm dependent on somebody else, I can be anytime in trouble. So best course is if I'm not dependent on anyone, let others be dependent on me. I can lay off them, but I cannot depend on anyone. Right? So the tendency to lord it over the resource of material nature is a root cause of this desire for being independent. And therefore, in this world, you see there's a lot of competition because if you want to be independent, if you want to be on top, the boss, then there's a lot of competition for that. Right? Because if you want to, say, start your own business also, there's a lot of competition. To be successful in the business, a lot of competition. Or to reach the topmost administrative position in your corporate or wherever you are working, a lot of competition, right? So, to reach the position of absolute independence is actually very, very difficult. But people continue trying in this world. So the subject matter we are going to discuss today is actually very much in synchronization with this idea that actually we are very much dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. The more we realize, the more we accept it, the more we actually become happy. The more we actually become satisfied. And Bhagavatam says, satisfaction that we are looking for in this world is can be on the level of body, or some people look on the level of mind satisfaction. But satisfaction which comes on the level of soul, yena atma suprasidati, by which atma actually becomes satisfied, the self living in this body becomes satisfied, is actually by realizing that we are so much dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So we are going to discuss today Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. We try to discuss in two parts. One is before lunch and one after lunch we discuss. But the theme of this entire Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, I don't know if you know that, but Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is, the very name suggests, Bṛhad means very great or very huge, and Bhāgavatam, Bhāgavatam means a literature which contains the glory of the Supreme Lord, the Śaṅkarānanda. And Amrit means nectar. So Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta means the nectar of the glorious or huge Śaṅkarānanda. And this literature is, the theme of this literature is because there's a lot of discussion on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. People who do not have any idea about devotional principle, they may think, if they start studying this literature, they may think that, oh, this book is for people who are very pessimistic in life, who are depressed. It looks like some depressed people we are talking about, how depressed they are in life. And there is also comparison. In this world, if you have comparison, if you compare with anyone, generally the result will be only two things. If you compare yourself with anyone, there will be only two things happening. Either you will enter in competitive spirit with that person, right? Oh, this person has this position. Now I have to compete, I have to go greater position. Right? So that competitive spirit will come, either that will happen, or envy. You start becoming envious. When you can't compete with the person, then you start becoming envious of the person. So, In this world, if you compare, either result will be comparative spirit or envy. Semi vernacular, our teacher used to tell me in the school days, he used to say, if you compete or if you try to compare yourself with others, Sindhi vernacular, they say two things will happen. Risa, or Bhusa. I think Madhuri can relate to that. Madhuri. Risa means you try to compete with the person. You want to be like, or you want to supersede that person. So that is competitive spirit. Or Bhusa means envy. I can't be like him, let me pull him down or her down. So he used to tell us, this is an anecdote he told us in our school days, and I remember it got such a strong and foundational lesson in our school days. I started thinking, okay, I don't have to compete with anyone. This is what happened. So he used to say there were two devotees of Lord Shiva. They were neighbors, next door neighbors to each other. So one day, they were both performing tapasya and trying to please Lord Shiva. So one day Lord Shiva got pleased with both of them. So he appeared to the first person, said, ask me, son, what do you want? He said, my Lord, I want whatever I desire, my desire should get fulfilled. He was a nice, simple person. He said, whatever I desire, my desire should get fulfilled. Lord Shiva said, perhaps Lord Shiva doesn't have any problem with this kind of invention. Not like Vedas was asking, if I put hand on somebody, he should die. Lord Shiva has really concern with that kind of condition. But he was happy, okay, whatever you desire should happen. Here you go. Then he goes to the next person, next door. He appeared to him and he said, my Lord, before I ask you boon, I want to ask you something. Did you give darshan to my neighbor also? He said, yes. Why are you so much bothered about that? And he said, no, but what did he ask you? And he said, whatever desire he wants, should get fulfilled. So he said, well then I ask the boon, whatever he gets, I should get double on that. Lord said, all right, no problem. So this is called, Risa means you want to compete with the person. Okay, he's having one, I should have two, double of that. Well, the first person started designing, okay, let me have a nice bungalow. So he has a nice bungalow. And then he comes next day and in the balcony sees two bungalows in front of him. And realize, both the bungalows belong to his neighbor. Suppose he decides, I should have a chariot, nowadays we say car, right? I should have a car, the neighbor has two cars, same brand. So he's saying, wait a minute, what's going on here, So then he again started praying to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appears, he said, my Lord, what's happening? He said, why, what happened? What permission you give to my neighbor? Well, he asked that whatever you have, he should have double of that. Oh, this is what he asked for. All right, thank you very much, Lord. That's all I wanted to know. So he made a plan. Okay. Now, home card doesn't make any difference. Let my one eye go blind. The neighbor goes blind, I go blind. Let me become handicapped by one hand. The neighbor becomes handicapped by both hands. So in this way, he feels great satisfaction that, the other person is actually, gone down by having double of me. And Srila Bhakti-Saraswati called this that, this category of people, they actually go to any extent to even ruin themselves to destroy others. more or less demonic nature. But here in this situation we find a lot of competition, but that competition actually, or that comparison is actually very much desirable. Because in spiritual realm, when you compare with humility, then again two things will happen. Either you will be humbled, that okay, this person is actually better than me, or you will see the room for improvement for yourself. That actually I have a lot of room for improvement. So when with due humility one compares, he only becomes a better person, either by becoming humble or improving himself or herself. So this is what we will be seeing throughout the lessons of Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. So Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta begins with, we all know Śrīmad Bhāgavatam was spoken to Parikshit Maharaj on the bank of Ganga by Śukadeva Goswami. And Śukadeva Goswami spoke for 7 days because Parikshit Maharaj is about to die in 7 days, being bitten by a Takshak. So the 12th canto we read that Śukadeva Goswami, he gave the final instructions to Parikshit Maharaj after describing the entire Bhagavatam. He gave final instructions to Parikshit Maharaj that, my dear Parikshit, don't be afraid of Takshak because you are not this body, you are spirit soul. When you are faced with this conception that you are not the body but you are spirit soul, you are part of Krishna, you won't even realize when Takshak comes and binds you. And then you will leave this body and you will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So saying this, Śukadeva Goswami left. Takshak is about to come, but there's a little gap between when Śukadeva Goswami, because until Śukadeva Goswami is there, Takshak could not come there. So this is actually very interesting. Śukadeva Goswami would have said, I will stay here, I will stay for 8 or 9 days, let me see Takshak. But Takshak couldn't come in the presence of Śukadeva Goswami. It's a reality because he would not have dared to come in the presence of Śukadeva Goswami. But Śukadeva Goswami did not want to interfere with the law of nature. Because the Lord does not interfere, and Lord's pure devotees, they also don't try to interfere with the law of nature. So he left little early. So there was a gap between Śukadeva Goswami leaving and Takshak coming. So Parikshit Maharaj decided that now I will take Maunvrata. I am not going to speak to anyone. Okay. So he sits in silence. But that moment, the mother of Parikshit Maharaj, Uttara, she approaches him. My dear son, I very much want to hear what instruction did you receive from Śukadeva Goswami for 7 days. Please summarize to me in brief. I want to know what is the essence that you learned. Apparently she was not there when Śukadeva Goswami was describing Bhagavatam. So she said, I want to learn. What did you learn from Śukadeva Goswami? In brief, if you can tell me. So Parikshit Maharaj said, Mother, I had decided to do the Maunvrata. Till death I will remain silent. But your question is so wonderful. It's helping me to recollect Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the teachings of Śukadeva Goswami. So I will summarize it for you. So you see, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is very vast, right? It was heard by Parikshit Maharaj for 7 days, right? But the repetition doesn't mean, repeating word by word. That parrot can do. But because Uttara is also a great Vaishnavi, Parikshit Maharaj, he summarized the entire Bhagavatam by telling 2 different histories, or 2 different, you can say, stories, which are actually historical incidents. So by narrating two history, small history, he summarized the entire summary of Srimad Bhagavatam through that nice historical event. So that's actually in two parts. We'll just try to cover today part 1. Part 2 will be maybe some other time we'll have. But that will not be done in one day, probably take 2-3 days. It's much bigger. So, Parikshit Maharaj started narrating to his mother Uttara that one time in Prayag is a holy place in India. We had Kumbh Mela recently. More than 600 million people visited, right? Kumbh Mela. So Kumbh Mela happens in Prayag every, I think, 12 years. So in Prayag, on the bank of the river Ganga, near Triveni Sangam, there's also the ghat called Dashashwamedha Ghat. So on the bank of Ganga, on the Dashashwamedha Ghat, a lot of saintly people assembled there in the month of Magh. Magh means around January, February month is called month of Magh. So in the month of Magh, a lot of saintly people assembled there to take dip in Triveni Sangam. And after taking bath in the early morning, the saintly persons were sitting on the bank of Ganga. And they were praising each other. Oh, you are such a nice, saintly Vaishnava. You have received mercy of the Supreme Lord, Shri Kṛṣṇa. They were going, no, you have received mercy. No, you have received the mercy of Krishna. They were glorifying each other. And in the midst of that, they saw one Brahmana, very effulgent. He came with his entourage. And he set up a big tent, kind of a thing. Just like, I don't know how much we went to Kumbh Mela, but Kumbh Mela there were a lot of tents. So similarly, he set up his tent, and on the tent, in the tent, he actually set up a nice altar. We have the altar, so he set up a nice altar. On that, he had his Śaṅkarānanda and started beautifully decorating the altar. And then, in the presence of all the people, he actually started offering worship to Śaṅkarānanda. Very elaborate worship. Offering the Panchagavyas, and then offering Abhishek to the Lord with 5 ingredients. And then, offering the elaborate Aarti and Bhoga to the Lord. And then he started actually distributing that prasad of the Lord to all the saintly persons and sages that were present there. He started distributing prasad to even other Kshatriyas and Vaishya class and Shudras, everyone. And that order, first he offered to Brahmanas, and then Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they were also offered. And then he started offering prasad to even outcast people who were actually lower than Shudras. And after that, the prasad was distributed to even animals like dogs and even the birds like vultures. Everyone was given prasad. And Narad-muni, when he was also present on the stage, so he saw this. He became filled with so much joy. He saw that among all the people, this person, this Brahmana was worshipping the Lord with so much love and devotion. And he was actually showing the mercy not only to human beings, but even to lower animals and birds. This is actually real Vaishnava culture. Vaishnava culture doesn't mean, we be kind to our neighbors, or be kind to our family only, but kind to every living entity. In fact, King Rantidev in Bhagavatam, so other Puranas describe that Lord actually mentioned to Devatas Lord Vishnu, he actually told Devatas like Yama, Indra, Rudra, that Rantidev is very dear to me because he does not see any difference between me and all the living entities. He sees them as my part and parcel. You see, all the living beings are part and parcel of Krishna. So, like this finger is part of my body. Or, so similarly, if somebody is expressing affection for me, he says, I like you, but I don't like your finger. I wish I could break this finger. What does that mean? That means he doesn't really have any affection, right? So similarly, if somebody is praising Krishna, or worshipping Krishna, but he is very unkind or violent to other living entities, that means he really doesn't have any love for Krishna, doesn't have any affection for Krishna. So normally we saw that this Brahmana was so kind to all the living beings. He was distributing prasad to every living being, and his level of devotion was so wonderful. Then Narada actually got up and started with his hands raised. He started telling this Brahmana, "Oh my dear Brahmana, you are the recipient of Krishna's mercy. You have received the greatest mercy of Krishna. In this world, nobody is greater, or nobody has received a greater mercy than what you have received from Krishna." As soon as Brahmana heard this, he became really embarrassed. But this was happening in front of all the sages. So he became really embarrassed and he said, "My dear sage," because everybody knows Narada, he said, "My dear sage, what you are saying? I'm just a mortal. I'm just an ordinary human being. What kind of mercy I can actually have? And my level of devotion, my service to Lord is so meager and so insignificant. I can have only very little resources to offer to Krishna. I can't really offer much opulent service. Although his service to the deity was very opulent, to Śaṅkarānanda was very opulent. But he said, I have very little opulence, because Krishna is the Lord of universe, how much I can really offer him? Whatever little wealth I am using in his service. Because Brahmana was actually conscious that he is worshipping the Supreme Lord, the Lord of the universe. And whatever riches he had was actually insignificant. I remember many years ago, this was I think maybe in 1999 around. We had gone for Paryaya in Udupi. Anyone been to Udupi, Paryaya? So every 2 years, Udupi, there is a beautiful temple of Udupi Krishna which was established by Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. So, Madhvacharya established 8 mathas around the temple. And he gave service to each matha for 2 years. That means the first matha does the service to Udupi Krishna for 2 years. That means all the devotees living in that matha, they will be offering service to Udupi Krishna for 2 years. And all others will just continue, their regular duty, but the deity will be worshipped primarily by one matha for 2 years. And after 2 years, Paryaya happened. That means handover of service. The next matha takes over. So in this way, the different mathas take over. So I remember 99 or 98, somewhere around that time we had gone for Paryaya. So there was one of the Madhva Vaishnava sannyasis, his name was Vishweshwar Swami. I think he passed away a few years back, but very wonderful and very staunch Madhva follower. So one time, he was confronted by the press conference, and he was confronted by the press reporters because they had recently made a beautiful crown made from jewels, different precious stones. And in those days, that crown costed for almost more than 1 crore rupees. It was a huge amount. It came actually in news. It was a big news. So this press reporter was asking, don't you people have any shame? You are offering so much opulence to your temple deities. There's so much poverty in India. Whenever people want to offer to God, who are elemental towards God, they start feeling, oh, you are offering so much to God. Then there will be poverty is the number. Isn't it so much poverty? People don't have food to eat and you are offering so much opulence. 1 crore rupees worth of crown to Kṛṣṇa. So he told the press reporter, he said, hold on. The Prime Minister, when he visits some different country, he goes on a chartered plane. And sometimes he takes his whole press conference also, they come in another chartered plane. Right? So, just imagine, you are one trip of Prime Minister going to different country. It costs very, very much more than the price of this crown. And your Prime Minister may visit in 5 years so many different countries, so many trips. He's spending so many crores of rupees. You're not asking him a question, oh, you're spending so much money. And he's just an insignificant human being. And we are offering an insignificant, just like a peanut, 1 crore worth of crown. We are making so much noise. It's a peanut for Kṛṣṇa. The land press reporter was actually speechless. He couldn't say anything. So, whatever opulence we may offer to Kṛṣṇa is actually insignificant. Similarly, following in footsteps of Prabhupada, once he was, coming for some program, he came in I believe, Rolls Royce. It was a very prestigious car. Up to now also it is. But he came in Rolls Royce, and so one other person, he said, Swamiji, what kind of sannyasi you are? You are coming in Rolls Royce? Your followers are coming in Rolls Royce? And Prabhupada said, this is only a car made of tin, metal. And even if they brought the golden car, it will not be sufficient. But that's all they have, they can offer me this one. And it's true, Prabhupada was revolutionary, right? He said, because I am ambassador of, I am coming on behalf of Kṛṣṇa, even if they offer me golden car, that's not enough. That's also insignificant. And actually that's true, Gold is also just maybe a precious metal. But what's the value of gold in comparison to the soul, jiva? And what we speak of a jiva who has, immense love for Kṛṣṇa. He has come on behalf of Kṛṣṇa to this world. The gold is insignificant. And all the wealth of this world is actually insignificant. So Brahma told, my opulence is actually insignificant. What can I really offer to the Lord? But if you want to really see the opulence, then you should go and see the king. The king offers so much opulent worship to the Lord. In fact, the king from southern India, he has his entire kingdom. In practically every town or city, you will see the big temples of Lord. And in every temple, the very elaborate worship goes on. In fact, in his country, the country of the southern king from southern India, there are every single day festivals. In fact, festivals never end in his kingdom. Now just imagine, we live in here in Northern California, we have festivals, once in a while. We have Janmashtami, I think that's the biggest festival from India, Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta and then Janmashtami. But the Brahma said, in the kingdom of this king, every day is a festival. I can relate to that because, when I was introduced to Krishna consciousness, literally, initial 6 years, when I lived in Chapari temple, We literally used to have every day the festival. So many festivals we had. In those 6 years, so many festivals. You can take actually your Vaishnava calendar app and see how many Vaishnava Acharyas appearance day and disappearance day we have. We used to celebrate all of those like a huge festival. All of those. We used to, on appearance and disappearance day of Vaishnava, we fast in the afternoon. So from morning, we'll have katha, a lot of katha and kirtan till 1 o'clock. 12 o'clock, there will be bhoga offering to the Lord. 12:30 there will be art. And 12:30 to 1:30 there will be massive kirtan. All the devotees will be dancing and jumping in the temple hall. And 1:30 you will sit to take prasad. And there will be a huge feast. And that used to be practically, every day used to be a festival. And I remember during Janmashtami, we used to have Janmashtami. We only celebrate one Janmashtami, right? Especially after coming to, US. And as long as I was in Vietnam, we used to have at least 3 or 4 Janmashtami festivals. Vietnam still has, I think, 3-4 Janmashtami festivals. But we used to have 15, minimum 15 Janmashtami festivals. It will start maybe 2 weeks before Janmashtami and 1 week after Janmashtami. So many different congregations, they will invite, okay, come, we have Janmashtami festival, we'll have Janmashtami. We start so many Janmashtami festivals. So this Brahma said, in the kingdom of this king, there is every single day there is a festival, massive festival of worshipping the Supreme Lord. So Narada Muni, he became very happy. Of course, he is the transcendental spaceman, so he doesn't need any vehicle. He immediately flew and reached southern India. And indeed, he found what Brahma had said was true. There were so many temples. And then he saw the king. King personally coming, in royal palanquin and with his all royal paraphernalia. And all the paraphernalia that he had were actually made of pure gold. These ornaments, of course, they're definitely gold, but even the plates and all the paraphernalia, spoons and bells were used, everything was made of gold. Because in our temple, we can't even offer golden jewelry to the Lord. Because of fear, right? But the king, his kingdom was so prosperous, nobody would ever imagine of stealing from the temple or deity. People were so prosperous. Because when people start worshipping the Supreme Lord, the prosperity automatically comes. It's not that the prosperity will be hampered if we become sincere devotees, if we start practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely. Prosperity is not hampered. In fact, Prabhupada mentioned that Lakshmi, who is actually the source of all the good fortunes, she's always seated at the feet of Lord Narayana and massaging his feet. So there's no question that Lakshmi, if you have only Lakshmi, then her name Chanchala comes very true. Because Lakshmi means Chanchala. That's one of her names. So if you only invite Lakshmi, she will behave like Chanchala. That means she will be there. And Chanchala means child who is very Chanchal, right? You say, hey, sit here for 1 minute. And you turn this side and it's gone. Right? That's Chanchala. Right? Mothers can relate to that, right? So, similarly, Lakshmi is also Chanchala. If somebody worshipping Lakshmi alone, he or she may receive some benediction of Lakshmi, but what and when she will disappear, we don't know. But somebody who worships Lakshmi along with Lord Narayana and keeping Lord Narayana in their home and in their lives, center of their lives, then Lakshmi will never leave. So the king had such unparalleled opulences. He was worshipping the deities with so much love and devotion, and all his subjects, not only he was engaged, When the festival was happening, all the subjects were actually assembling to celebrate the festivals of worshipping the Lord. Indeed, it looked like there was no other occupation than worshipping the Lord. Everybody was just coming, participating in the festival and going home. And actually, Sanatana Goswami mentions that the land was producing the grains and all the desirable things without even being cultivated. And we think that, oh, this is all fantasy, just like we sometimes may see in some Hollywood movies, right? No. There are actually descriptions in the Puranas that in Satyuga, generally people don't do any cultivation of land. The land produces grains, fruits, and everything automatically. And that's actually a reality. If you leave the land, if you throw some seeds in a land where there is ample of rains, you will see automatically everything will start growing. If human beings don't interfere. If they interfere, then it may not. But if human beings don't interfere, everything will automatically grow. So in Satyuga, that's how things grew. So the kings, this kingdom of this particular king in southern India, the land was producing everything desirable without even being cultivated. So Narada was so happy seeing this. He came and started glorifying the king. My dear king, you are actually the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy. Nobody is equal to you in receiving Krishna's mercy. You are actually the recipient of Krishna's supreme mercy. The king actually, when he heard this, he became ashamed. He lowered his head. He said, my dear, everybody knows Narada. He said, my dear sage, my dear Narada, I don't know what you see in me which makes you think that I will see the mercy of Krishna. I am just a Manushya. Manushya means one who is actually descendant of Maharaj Manu. We have such a short duration of life. How long I can live? Maybe I am king now, right? But duration of my life is so short. I may live at the most for 100 years, right? You don't even find nowadays people living for 100 years, right? But he said, I may live at the most for 100 years. And in 100 years also, how much actually I can worship the Lord? I spend time in so many things. How much I can really offer worship the Lord? And my opulences? Actually, if you really want to see the opulences, you should see the opulence of the inhabitants of heaven, Swarga. The inhabitants of Swarga have real opulences. And when they worship the Lord with all their opulences, that worship is actually so much pleasing to the heart when you see them worshiping. And especially among the inhabitants of Swarga, the king of heavenly planets, Purandar, he is very special. He is special because the Lord has taken the role of his younger brother. Krishna is known as Upendra. In the form of Vaman, he is known as Upendra. Upendra means younger brother of Indra. So he said, the Lord is known as Upendra, the younger brother of Indra. He has assumed the role of his younger brother simply to protect him. And of course, I worship a deity here, but the Lord is Sakshat sitting there in the court of Indra, like an obedient younger brother. Of course, there's no difference between the deity and Sakshat form of the Krishna. To think that deity is just a statue or stone is actually called Narki Buddhi. Of course, Brahman didn't have that mentality. He was saying that, the Lord has manifested in the form of Murti here, in the form of Varcha Vikra, to receive my worship. But there the Lord actually is sitting as a brother, younger brother of Indra, and receiving worship from him. And Indra, with all his opulences, his position as the king of heavenly planets, he offers everything with love and devotion to the Supreme Lord. So if you really want to see the worship and the mercy, how one can receive mercy, you should go and see Purandar, the Indra, the king of heavenly planets. He is actually the one who will receive the greatest mercy of the Lord. And Arjuna, he was so much blissful hearing this. Now you see, the Brahmana was thinking actually king has received better mercy. The king is thinking Indra has received a better mercy. Now let's see what happened to Indra. So not only comes to heavenly planets and he sees the beautiful assembly of King Indra, and he sees Lord Vamandev also seated on Garuda. And all the devatas, including Indra, they are actually, the Lord is about to leave to go to his residence. So they are all actually, there to have, farewell for him. And then the Lord receiving the worship and Narada saw that Indra actually was offering worship to the Lord, and while worshipping, the tears were flowing from his eyes. Now just imagine, when we offer Aarti, how many times we have tears flowing from our eyes? But Indra, when he was offering Aarti to the Lord, the tears of joy, the love of the Lord were flowing from his eyes. Sometimes, we hear the devotees say, they criticize Indra. Indra is a materialistic devotee. He has so many material desires. He gets into trouble because of that. But Indra is actually a very, very exalted and very powerful Vaishnava. Yes, he has his, inclination for materialistic desires. But he is a very exalted person. In fact, Bhagavatam, we find the verse. Paribhasha Sutra of Bhagavatam. One of the, prime important verses from Bhagavatam says, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridanti Yuga Ete Cham Shakra Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Sri Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridanti Yuga. Says, Krishna appears in this world whenever the enemies of Indra become powerful. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. When this world is troubled by the enemies of Indra. That means somebody becomes so powerful that Indra cannot deal with him. Krishna comes to deal with him on behalf of Indra. So that's how important Indra is in the eyes of Krishna. So, Narada Muni, he also assembled along with all the devatas to give farewell to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vamandev left, riding on Garuda. Then he turned to Indra. He said, my dear Indra, you are so fortunate. You are the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy, because the Lord has assumed the role of your younger brother, and he follows you like a younger brother. Of course, you may think, what a big deal is younger brother. But nowadays, that culture is not there. Right? I remember, I grew up in a joint family. Elder brother is treated almost like father. In cultured families, the elder brother is actually treated like a father. And generally, you never even argue with your elder brother. The elder brother says something, you simply follow. And I remember As long as I was not Krishna conscious, I used to be very obedient to my brothers. Actually, when I set up an altar at home, small altar at home, so one of my elder brothers, I had 4 elder brothers, so one of my elder brothers, so he saw me offering Bhagavad to the Lord. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm offering Bhagavad to Krishna." So, and he said, "Krishna eats?" I said, "Yes, he eats." So after some time I went to remove the offering, he said, "Did Krishna eat?" I see everything is in the plate, as it is. Of course, I didn't want to tell him, Anga, yes, but he elder brother. I said, "Don't bother, I have faith, Krishna ate." Because I know that if you tell your elder brother or anyone in the family, they say, "Oh, I have seen you, I have taught you how to clean your back and you are teaching me now." So I didn't say it, but he used to go every Tuesday to Hanuman temple and he used to come and give some prasad. So I said, "Okay." Next Tuesday when he went to Hanuman temple, he brought prasad. And I asked him one question, you know what question? I asked him, "Oh, did Hanuman eat this?" He said, "Yes." "How do you know?" I said, "If Hanuman ate these, it should be gone, right?" And he said, all right, I understand." And after that, he never argued with me. Not that I argued with him, but so in a civilized society, elder brother is treated as good as father. You never argue with him. He said, "Lord has appeared as your younger brother, and he's following you as obedient, younger brother." And not only that, whenever your enemies, they overpower you, Krishna appears to deal with them, to kill them. And you are so fortunate that Lord is living with you as a younger brother. And Indra, when he heard this, he became very humble. And he told us, "Narada, my dear sage, you know the reality. Why are you mocking me like this? Why are you making fun of me?" It's not that Indra is blind to his weaknesses or his issues. He said, "You already know the reality. Why are you making fun of me? You call this mercy? Where is mercy? I don't see any mercy of Krishna on me." If the Lord was really merciful to me, he would not have gone to my enemy, Bali Maharaj, and begged from him. He would have gone and killed my enemy, right? But he went and begged from him. And whatever he received from begging, he gave to me. Such a shameful thing for me. And you might think that the Lord has appeared my brother, but actually, no credit to me. It's because my father and mother, Kashyap Muni and Aditi, they have so much devotion to the Lord. Therefore, he appears as their son. And because I am also their son, he happens to be my brother. And where's the mercy? So many times, I may have a kingdom of heaven, but so many times I have left this heavenly plans out of fear of asuras. My position is not even secure. Anytime some powerful demon comes, I am thrown out. If the Lord was really merciful to me, then nobody should be able to shake me from my position. So you see, even in the heavenly planets, Indra is also not sacred. Even his position is not sacred. But sometimes people, they achieve some position in corporate life, they think, I am secure now. Anytime, that security can be gone. If Indra's position is not secure, what is it of our position, right? No matter who we are. Even if we had, a very successful and flourishing business, even if we had tons and tons of money, anything can flip within a moment. It can flip. I remember one of our relatives in India. The day in India Notbandi happened, right? He had some few crores in his own cash. He was cursing, what nonsense Prime Minister is this, He had no way and means how he can convert that money into now life, right? So, even if you have immense amount of wealth, it can happen within a moment. It can turn. You can lose everything. So nobody's position is to be secure. So Indra said, my position is not secure in this world. Anytime. And he said, Bali Maharaj actually not only, he removed me, he removed all the devatas also. He appointed demons as in charge of sun, moon and all the other planets. And my brother, Vamandev, he called that Lord has given mercy to me, he goes and begs from him. So I see this is really mercy. And what to speak of that? Now the Lord is living in Dwarka now, But when he was playing his childhood pastimes, I tried to actually destroy his whole Brajabhumi and all the Brajavasis. If it was really mercy of the Lord on me, why would I actually fight? Or I would try to kill the Lord. And moreover, recently the Lord took away the Parija flower tree from heavenly planets. He took it to the earthly regions. And when I tried to oppose him, he fought with me. He defeated me. Do you call this as mercy? So, but, my dear Narada, if you really want to see the mercy, the real recipient of mercy of the Lord is your father, Brahma. He has received the real mercy of the Lord. Because he is constantly engaged in worshipping the Lord through yajnas. And the Lord is, always, Lord is the one who gave the knowledge to him from within the heart. And your father is known as self-born. He is born from the body of the Supreme Lord. He is called Swayambhu. He is born from the body of the Supreme Lord. He is actually the real recipient of Krishna's mercy. So you should go and see him. And my position is that I live only for 71 yuga cycles, for one manvantara. That's my duration of life. But what is the duration of life of your father? 14 Indras like me come and go in one day of your father's life. So every day he sees 14 Indras like me coming and going. Just imagine, we don't get to see 14 administration coming and going every day. And be highly unstable, right? So, Narada, when he heard this, he became so brilliant. He actually went right to Satyaloka, to his father's abode, to the abode of Brahma. And he saw his father, Lord Brahma, engaged in the service of the Lord. Because in Satyaloka, Lord Brahma, he offers constantly yajnas, he's offering ahutis, and the Lord in the form of Sahasra Shesha Pusha, the Lord with his 1,000 heads and 1,000 arms, receives the offerings from Brahma. Here we put, plate of Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta offering, and we take out the offering, and we understand that Lord accepted through glancing over it. But in Satyaloka, the Lord is personally present when he is offering ahutis. When we do sometimes yajna, We say Swaha, but we see everything going into fire and disappearing. Right? But the Lord there, He accepts the offerings of Brahma, His 1,000 arms, and right in front of Brahma puts in His mouth. So, Narada saw this. The Brahma was worshipping the Lord. And Lord, after accepting and being worshipped by Brahma, He retired. And then Narada started glorifying Brahma. He said, my dear Father, you are actually the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy. No one has received the mercy like you have received. In one day of your life, the 14 Manus come and go, and the whole host of demigods get replaced, 14 times in one day of your life. And moreover, you have taken the birth from the body of the Lord. And the Lord is personally present here in your abode, receiving offerings from you. He does not receive the offering in the form of Agni, but He actually receives your offerings and He is in front of you. So you are so fortunate, my dear Father. You have actually received the greatest mercy of the Lord. And Brahma, when he heard this, he became so ashamed. He told Narada, my dear Narada, you are saying that actually I am the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy. But I don't see it that way. Everybody thinks I am the real creator of this creation. And sometimes that overpowers me also. I start thinking that actually I am the creator. But I am only the secondary creator. So we have two kinds of creations. Bhagavatam explains, Sarga and Visarga. So Brahma does Visarga, secondary creation. So what are the difference between Sarga and Visarga? So, say for example, we have this building, right? This building, it is, you can say, created by some engineer, right? Some engineer made the architecture design and, submitted to the county and got the permit, and then some contractor built it, right? So, an engineer may conceive this building and put, through the contract, put everything together and the building is manifest, right? But the engineer does not create the ingredients for this building. He does not decide how the flooring should be. He knows only how the flooring should be put in this building. But he doesn't decide what ingredients should go in the flooring, how the flooring should be made, how the wall, the drywall should be made. No, that is none of it. He just gets those ingredients, assemble them together, and building is created. So Brahma is the secondary creator, the engineer of this creation. He takes the ingredients, puts them together, and makes the 14 binary systems. So the primary creation is done by the Supreme Lord Himself. Bhagavatam explains. The primary ingredients of this creation are actually created by the Lord. So Brahma, he simply takes those ingredients and he creates this creation. So therefore, Brahma is considered engineer of this creation. He is not the prime creator. So, the sarga is actually done by the Lord and Visarga is done by Lord Brahma. So Brahma said, people really think that I am the creator. But actually, I simply take the ingredients and I create this creation under the order of the Supreme Lord. And then another interesting thing, people who may think that Brahma is the creator, they should also consider this. If Brahma is the creator, And if he is an independent creator, why there are only 14 planetary systems every time? Right? Bhagavatam explains that every day of Brahma, the lower 10 planetary systems, they are inundated. Right? After Swargalok, everything is inundated. Only 4 upper planetary systems remain intact. So if Brahma is really independent, then he should think, right, oh, yesterday I created 14, today I'll create maybe 20. 20 planetary systems. No, today I'm feeling lazy, I'll create only 10. No. Every time he has to create 14 planetary system only. So even if every day of Brahma, inundation happens and 10 planetary systems are inundated, after the inundation is gone, again he should create only 10 more. Not a more, not a less. Only 10. So 14 planetary system. That actually indicates that Brahma is also not an independent creator. He is bound by the will of the Lord. Similarly, Lord Shiva, he cannot destroy at his will. He can only destroy, under the will of the Supreme Lord. So Brahma said, Narada, I don't know what makes you think that I am recipient of Krishna's mercy. No. Actually, I am responsible for appointing all the devatas, all the demigods. I am the one who appointed. I am the one who gave the position to Kubera, Yama, Indra, and Varuna. And all these people, whenever they do some nonsense, it actually reflects, incapability of my administration, right? Same thing happens, right? If you are the lead in the team, somebody from your team does something nonsense, you say, hey, what nonsense you are doing? You answer, I didn't do mine. This person under me did it. No, you did it. Right? People look at you in the afternoon. So similarly, Brahma said, whenever they do some nonsense, it reflects bad on me. Just look at Indra, what did he do? He tried to kill Krishna's Brajvasis. He sent torrents of rains. And forget about them, what did I do? I went and stole Krishna's calves and cowherd boys, the friends. And disturbed Krishna's pastimes. I was thinking I'm trying to act smart because I'm so great. Let me play some trick on Krishna. And this way I offended him. And my people also keep offending him. Indra is offending him. He fought with him for Parida. So, I don't think it is real mercy of the Lord. And moreover, I'm also not free from fear. I'm always afraid of, whenever I see this, at the end of my day, inundation happening, I'm thinking, I don't know when the inundation will come up to Satyalok also, and I'll also be inundated. I'll also die. I'm afraid of Mahapralaya. The ultimate pralaya which will happen. I'm always afraid of that. Actually, a person who will see the mercy of the Lord, he should be fearless. I'm not fearless. I'm also afraid of death. So, actually, I'm not the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy. Who is the real recipient of Krishna's mercy? It is not Shiva. He is actually the recipient of Krishna's greatest mercy. You see, I have a material body which is subjected to birth and death, but Lord Shiva does not. His body is not material. He is not subjected to death like me. And moreover, when I give benedictions to demons like Hiranyakashipu, the Lord was very angry at me. He told me, don't give such benedictions to demons. But when Lord Shiva gives benediction to demons, he does not get angry at him because he treats him as a friend. Right? And moreover, his wife, the wife of Lord Shiva, Parvati, Lord Krishna treats her as her own sister. So they are both very dear to the Lord. In fact, if I see anyone who's true recipient of Krishna's mercy, that is these two, Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati. They are the true recipient of Krishna's mercy. So you should go and see them. And Lord Shiva is so glorious. I follow a lot of rules and regulations. And just see my son Daksha, he's also used to be very proud of his position and following the rules and regulations. Therefore he offended Daksha. He offended Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, just to mock or make fun of people like us, he smears his body with crematorium ashes. Because see, in this creation, the administration is set up in such a way that Brahma, he gives a set of rules. And he gives to his sons, Marichi and all the sages. Daksha is also one of his sons. So Lord Brahma gave rules to his son Daksha, that you set up the ruling that everybody should follow these rules. There's a rule that we also follow, right? Cleanliness and the rules that we follow in deity worship. So Daksha Prajapati, because he became a little arrogant because of his position and power. He started offending Lord Shiva. He thought that Lord Shiva is having crematorium ashes all over his body. So he actually started offending Lord Shiva and calling him. I believe in 4th canto of Bhagavatam also. Lord Shiva is so unclean, smears crematorium ashes on his body. So Lord Brahma said, just to mock people like us, he smears his body with crematorium ashes. Somebody says, oh, you are unclean. I'm unclean here. More unclean, right? So, but he said, he's very dear to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna treats him as a friend, and he treats Parvati as his own sister. So Narada, when he heard this, he offered respect to his father and he departed. He was having tears of joy in his eyes as he was going to Kailash. So he was thinking, I'll get to see Lord Shiva, who has received so much mercy of the Lord. As soon as he arrived in Kailash, he saw Lord Shiva sitting with his Ganas, with his wife, Parvati and all the Ganas. And having Krishna Katha with them. So Lord Shiva was engaged in that way and Narada Muni came. In fact, they were having Kirtan. Lord Shiva was having Kirtan with his Ganas and Narada Muni arrived. And he saw Lord Shiva was so jubilant, dancing in Kirtan. Where is clothing on he didn't realize. So Narada Muni, he came and started glorifying Lord Shiva. He said, my dear Lord, you are actually the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. Because Lord treats you as, they're reading the words of Brahma. Because the Lord treats you as friend. And if anyone offends you, somebody offends Krishna, Krishna may forgive that person. But somebody offends you, Krishna does not forgive that person. Vrutasura, right? Vrutasura was trying to destroy Lord Shiva. So the Lord tricked him and destroyed him. So the Narada said, if anyone tries to offend you, the Lord will destroy that person. In fact, actually, there's a word in the scripture that says, if anyone sees difference between Hari and Hara, then Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, if you see any difference between the two, that person can never get liberation. Of course, we also have another injunction. It says, Yastu Narayanam Deva Brahma Rudradi Deva Samaptena Viksheta Sapashani Bhava. If anyone who equates Lord Vishnu with Lord Shiva and Brahma, that person will become Ashani or atheist. So both intentions are actually true. Vaishnavas, they have proper understanding that Lord Shiva, he is, Shiram Yatha Dhani Vikara Vishesha Yoga. Lord Brahma says in Brahma Samhita. Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, they are not different from each other. Vishnu is like milk and Shiva is like yogurt. Shiram Yatha Dhani Vikara Vishesha Yoga. Sanjayate ni tatha prithakasti hetu. He says, Sanjayate nahi tatha prithakasti hetu. They are equal and they are so prithak, they are also different from each other. So, a Vaishnava actually understands that Lord Shiva is non-different from Vishnu, non-different from Vishnu. At the same time, he is also different from Vishnu. Like the milk and yogurt. Milk and yogurt both are nothing but milk only. But yet, they are different from each other. So, they are different. The devotee understands that Lord Shiva is different from Krishna in the sense that he is subordinate to Krishna. And he is, subservient to Krishna. But he is equal to Krishna because he is Guna Avatar. So you don't differentiate between one avatar and another avatar. They are avatar. In Krishna or Lord Shiva, they are avatar only. But he is Guna Avatar of the Lord. The avatar of the Lord in mode of passion. Okay. So in that way, they are equal. At the same time, they are not equal. Maybe we will conclude in another 5-10 minutes, and then if anyone has any question, then we can have a question. Okay. How long? Do you want to come? Yeah, sure. Okay. Then we can move to close. Okay. So, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, they are actually non-different from you. So Narada actually said, my dear Lord, you are actually not different from the Lord. Because he sees you as his friend. And if anyone offends you, the Lord will not forgive that person. He will destroy that person. And he sees your wife, Mother Parvati, as his sister. So therefore you both are very dear to him. And therefore, you are actually the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. And when Narada was speaking this, Lord Shiva went and closed his mouth. He said, Narada, stop. What are you talking? Lord Shiva was actually in ecstasy, but hearing this, he came out from the trance and he said, Narada, what are you talking? I am the recipient of Krishna's mercy. How? From which angle? If I was actually the recipient of Krishna's mercy, Krishna would have not given me the task of teaching the philosophy of monism. Lord Shiva appeared as Śaṅkarānanda, right? And the Puranas describe that the Lord himself gave instruction to Lord Shiva that you go on the earth in the form of Brahman, you make people averse to me by preaching the philosophy of monism. So, therefore, Lord Shiva appeared as Śaṅkarānanda. Of course, the purpose of Śaṅkarānanda's appearance was twofold. One was to actually establish the authority of the Vedas, which was lost because of the Buddhism. When Śaṅkarānanda appeared, before that, Buddhism had spread so widespread all over the planet, you can say. The people had given up the authority of Vedas. They were thinking Vedas are, because that's what Buddha preached. Buddha said, Vedas are bogus. So Lord Buddha, he defied the authority of Vedas. And therefore, because Buddhism spread, and therefore the authority of Vedas was lost. So Śaṅkarānanda's job was to re-establish the authority of the Vedas. And the Lord personally instructed him that you go. So one was to establish the authority of Vedas, because when the Vedas are established properly, then only the conclusion of Vedas can be established. Suppose, then we have the Vaishnava acharyas like Ramanujya Acharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarkacharya, they all came, and based on the Vedas, because Vedas authority is established by Lord Shankara, they could actually preach the philosophy of Vedas and establish the two conclusions. And of course, Lord Chaitanya later on came and he took the principle from all the four sampradayas and gave Achintya Veda with the philosophy. But the background was created by Lord Shiva in the form of Śaṅkarācharya. There was this one focus, one purpose, to establish the authority of Vedas. Other purpose was, in this world there are a lot of people who want to make a show off for spiritual life. They may have a lot of dirty desires in their heart. They want to fulfill those desires, but at the same time appear to be very spiritualists. So, people who have such cheating mentality, they need some philosophy. So Lord Shiva came and gave this impersonalist philosophy, which is actually meant for encouraging immorality. Encouraging to live a very immoral life. You think how that encourages immoral life? I think there are a couple of anecdotes from the life of Śaṅkarācharya. So, one time, Śaṅkarācharya, he was walking from the forest, and there was a villager with him, a simple villager. So all of a sudden, tiger came, started chasing. So Śaṅkarācharya ran, and villager ran. They both climbed on different trees. So after the tiger was gone, they came down. So the villager asked, Swamiji, you were saying that, this world is mithya. So this world is mithya means the tiger should also be mithya. So why you are running from this mithya tiger? Śaṅkarācharya said, well, the tiger is mithya. Me running is also mithya. This tree is also mithya. Me climbing on the tree is also mithya. And the villager said, oh yeah, okay. So, it's a philosophy for reassuring people, right? Another time Śaṅkarācharya was actually going with his disciples, a lot of followers were there with his disciples. So they entered into a liquor shop, or you can say bar. People were drinking liquor there. So Śaṅkarācharya, he picked up a pot of liquor. He said, this is Brahman. I am also Brahman. So Brahman going into Brahman, he drank the liquor. So disciples said, wow, this is good philosophy. Brahman drinking Brahman. And like Kṛṣṇa says in Bhagavad-gītā, right? There was Brahman te Vadantavyam, Brahma Karmasthana. How that verse begins? Brahma. What is that? How that verse begins? Do you remember that verse? Anyway, Kṛṣṇa says that yajna we offer, the ahuti, the butter that we offer is also Brahman, the fire is also Brahman, the person who is chanting mantra is also Brahman, so everything is Brahman. So Śaṅkarācharya said, I am Brahman, this liquor, pot of liquor is also Brahman, so Brahman going into Brahman. So disciples like that philosophy, oh, this is good. Then he went a little forward, there was a blacksmith shop. So the person was having a pot, earthen pot, and the iron was molten there, molten iron. Śaṅkarācharya said, this is Brahman, this is Brahman. Brahman going into Brahman. He started drinking molten iron. And disciples said, Gurudev, you cannot drink, we cannot drink this Brahman. So, philosophy that Śaṅkarānanda preached is actually more or less to encourage a moral life. If somebody literally takes that meaning, they can actually be misled. So people who have actually this cheating mentality that they want to look spiritualist, but at the same time enjoy the material life, Śaṅkarānanda said, okay, here's the philosophy. You can be separate. So he created a separate school for the people. Okay, if you want to have entertain material desires and at the same time appear as spirituals, you follow this philosophy. So Lord Shiva said, if Lord had really shown mercy to me, why would he tell me to preach this philosophy? To make people averse to his devotion or devotional life? Because even Lord Chaitanya said, Mayavad ke bhashya sudhire hoy sarvanash. If you hear the philosophy of Śaṅkarācārya, your inclination for devotion will be completely destroyed. So, because the philosophy that Śaṅkarācārya preached is very, very potent and very powerful. It can actually destroy one's creeper of devotion. So, it's actually not just recommended. We should not even hear that philosophy. It's so powerful. And of course, our Vaishnava Acharyas have studied that and given refutation. So if you read the Prabhupada's books, you will learn what that philosophy is. You don't have to read Śaṅkarācārya's books actually for that. You can actually learn from Prabhupada's books. Madhvacharya actually wrote Mayavad Shatatushni, the 100 refutation of all the Mayavad philosophy. It's called Mayavad Shatatushni. He has given 100 arguments how the philosophy of Śaṅkarācārya is actually baseless and useless. But anyway, Lord Shiva said, this is not the mercy of the Lord. And moreover, if I was really, had the mercy of the Lord, why would I have had fought with Lord? A couple of instances my Lord actually fought with, Lord Shiva fought with Lord Krishna. One was on account of marriage of Usha and Aniruddha, the daughter of Bāṇasura, Usha. Bāṇasura actually waged a war with Krishna and Lord Shiva came to rescue of Bāṇasura. So Lord Shiva said, if I had really mercy of the Lord, why would I fight with him? Another instance, Lord Shiva actually fought with Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna actually destroyed the whole city of Kashi. That was the episode of Kashi, king of Kashi. It is also there in Bhagavatam. So king of Kashi, he took an oath. And he told his citizens, today I am going to go and kill Krishna. I will bring his head and put the head of Krishna in the middle of the city. So the citizens were also equally nonsense like his king. So they were happy, wow, today we will get to see head of Krishna placed on the middle of the city. So they were looking forward to that. So when Kashiraj, he went to fight with Krishna, Krishna sent his Vishnu Chakra and he sent the head of Kashiraj flying into the city and fell in the same place where Kashiraj said, I will place the head of Krishna. So all citizens came happily, wow, looks like our king fulfilled the promise. He brought the head of Krishna. So they came and saw, oh, is the head of our king on him. And of course, then Lord Krishna, he sent his Sudarshan Chakra. Actually, later on, the son of Kashiraj, he performed tapasya to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gave him boon because he wanted to kill Krishna and all the Dwarkavasis. And when he sent his Lord Shiva inspired him to perform some yajna and sent a demon to Yadus, especially to Dwarka. And Sudarshan, the son of Kashiraj, he actually performed yajna, and a demon, a fiery demon rose from that. He employed that to kill Krishna and all the Yadus by destroying Dwarka. But then Sudarshan Chakra sent by Krishna, was causing too much fear for this demon, fiery demon. The fiery demon said, please don't trouble me. So Sudarshan said, okay, then go back, kill Sudarshan, the son of Kashiraj, and burn the city of Kashi. So the Kashi city was burned, and Kashi is a city which is very dear to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva said, if I am dear to the Lord, why you burn my city of Kashi? And I fought with him. 2 times I fought with him. But if you want to see the real recipient of Krishna's mercy, those are the resident of Vaikuntha. The resident of Vaikuntha, they are actually the true recipient of Krishna's mercy. Because they are worshipable even for me. When I see them, I offer them pranams to all of them. They are never bewildered by my illusory energy. I have been given a job to keep all the living beings under illusion. Lord Shiva also known as Tamsi. Tamsi means one who is in charge of Tamo Guna. He said, my job is thankless. I have to keep all the living entities bound in the material world through my illusory energy. And at the end of creation, I burn everything. Mercilessly, I burn everything. I destroy everyone. Actually, that's a great service of the Lord Shiva to the Supreme Lord. Because he does that destruction under the order of the Supreme Lord. But you're saying that the Lord has given me such, thankless task. I have to kill everyone, all the living entities I have to destroy. That is not real mercy. But Vaikunthavasi, they are the real recipient of Krishna's mercy. They have such beautiful forms. They are always in the association of the Lord and living in Vaikuntha. And Mother Parvati started speaking. And she said, among the Vaikuntha-vasis, Mother Lakshmi, she is the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. Because Lakshmi, she is always residing on the chest of the Lord. The Lord has Srivatsamark. So that Srivatsamark is actually now different from Lakshmi. So Lakshmi has eternal place on the chest of the Lord. And she's always busy in massaging the feet of the Lord. So, therefore, she is actually very dear to the Lord. And therefore, she is actually the supreme recipient of Krishna's mercy. So Narada was about to get up and go to Vaikuntha to see Mother Lakshmi and all the Vaikuntha-vasis. And he was so eager, Lord Shiva said, hold on, Mother. Lord has appeared now on the earth. And he is living in Dwarka with Lakshmi in the form of Rukmini Devi. So he has Lakshmi living with him there. But if you want to see the recipient of Lord Krishna's mercy, let me remind you something. When the Lord appeared as Narasimha, and when he killed Hiranyakashipu, none of us could approach him. Even I couldn't approach him, seeing his angry mood. Brahma, your father, couldn't approach him. He said, even Lakshmi could not approach him. But the only person who could approach him was Bṛhad. And the Lord himself declared that time that nobody is more dear to me, than my dear devotee Bṛhad. He said, the Lord actually declared that time that neither Lakshmi nor even my expansion Balaram, Ananta Shesha, even he is not dear to me as much as my devotee Bṛhad is dear to me. What else I can see? Parvati is here. So Sanatana Goswami explained that Lord Shiva was making this point because Mother Parvati, she said, that Lakshmi is the greatest recipient, and now he's going to counteract that, right? If you are counteracting your wife's word, you have to give some reference, right? Doesn't mean that will be safe. In spite of giving reference, also still can be trouble. But he just wanted to mention that Lord himself declared that time that even, and the fact that even Lakshmi could not approach him. Only Prahlad could approach him. And the Lord placed his hand on the head of Prahlad and he licked the body of Prahlad out of affection. He made Prahlad sit on his lap. So, if you want to really see the recipient of Krishna's mercy, you should go to Prahlad. Prahlad is actually the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. In fact, he is a pure devotee. So Narada became very happy and pleased to hear this. Now see, in this entire journey of Narada, we are seeing one thing common. There is comparison. Everybody is comparing themselves with somebody in their eyes has received more mercy of Krishna. But there is no element of either competitive spirit or envy. Everybody is, and the amazing thing about the devotional service is, even though there may be comparison, you still feel satisfied. The Brahman did not think that I should become king. Oh Krishna, please make me king, No, he was happy being in his role as Brahman. Similarly, king did not think, oh, let me become the king of heavenly planets, I should become Indra. No, he was happy being the, whatever position he was in. And similarly, Indra, he didn't desire that I want to become Brahma. Brahma didn't think that, I want to become something else. So, this is the glory or wonderful nature of devotional service. When we are practicing devotional service, when we are actually sincerely trying to practice Krishna consciousness, even though sometimes we compare or we try to see the perspective where I stand in comparison to some others, you never become envious or competitive with others. If you are sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness. Though there could be, humility arising automatically, like in this case we see everyone becomes humble. Indra is thinking, I'm so insignificant. In fact, I have done a lot of wrong deeds. So there is room for improvement, right? That I shouldn't be doing such a thing. So, in every case we find two things. Humility, that, actually I'm insignificant. Another we see some room for improvement. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't be doing such and such thing. So, this is the glory of devotional service. When we practice Krishna consciousness, and we can use all the tools, including comparing ourselves, but that will only bring us to become better Vaishnavas, become better devotees. So far we have discussed the journey of Narada Muni within this, realm of material world, but you can say so far Narada Muni has met all the Devatas, or you can say Sakama Bhaktas. Now, the journey with the Nishkama Bhaktas, the pure devotees, is about to begin. Of course, the journey is not ended, it is just halfway along. So, but one thing is common in this entire journey. Everyone who has received the mercy of Krishna is thinking there is somebody who has actually received total mercy of the Lord. So, in Krishna consciousness, we have always some better goal, some lofty goal to achieve. Doesn't mean that you are lacking satisfaction. You are satisfied wherever you are, but you always have a lofty goal to attain. Something to aspire for. And this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. I had, always mention this proverb, but somehow that, makes a lot of sense to me. If one is not happy with what you have, if you're not happy with what you have, you can never be happy no matter what you have. This is very much true in the material realm. In material realm, if you are not happy or satisfied with what you have, no matter whatever you are aspiring, you will never be happy with that. But in Krishna consciousness, whatever you have, you are satisfied, but you have always something higher to aspire for. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. You are satisfied also, but you also have some high aspiration. So with this, I think we will end this session. If anyone has any reflections or questions, please feel free. Yes, Prabhu.
So thank you, Śaṅkarānanda. We have been planning for this almost for 2 years. We have been asking about this. Somehow or the other, finally we were able to. So thank you.
Thank you very much for taking out your time on this Independence Day and coming. Independence Day weekend.
So when I entered the temple today morning, I was reflecting that it's a long weekend and there are a lot of options. I mean, if you just Google and look a place to go to bar or place for restaurant, so many options are there. But if we really want to hear Krishna Katha, connect with Krishna, there are very few opportunities that we get. And sometimes people say that, oh, I have so many things to do. I wish I get a day where nothing I have to do, I can just sit and hear. And so I was just reflecting when you were giving the session that we have got this opportunity thanks to you and Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, where we don't have to worry about cooking, logistics, everything is taken care. We can just sit and hear Krishna Katha and absorb ourselves in Krishna. And such a beautiful temple is there, all the facilities are there. People are busy building their own houses, but to build something for all the Vaishnavas to come together and hear Harikatha, especially when Prabhu was doing the Kirtan, and I was thinking this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted. At various places there should be centers where devotees can come together and sing glories of Krishna. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Śaṅkarānanda once told that the real purpose of temple administration is, that's the only purpose of temple administration. The real purpose of temple administration is to facilitate the more and more opportunities for hearing and chanting Krishna's glory. He says, if that purpose is achieved, then your administration is success, otherwise it's all useless. No matter how nice temple you build and how wonderful administration you are doing, if you are not able to provide the opportunity for hearing and chanting Krishna's glory, your entire effort is useless. So I'm glad we are able to provide some facility, some little bit of whatever tiny capability we have, we are able to offer that. And of course, thanks to especially Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta and Amritam, they actually, along with Govindati, they were actually very much engaged in the kitchen right from. So logistics, if they are not, we don't have to worry about is because as Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Amritam, they are going to take care of. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for arranging this. It's like we should be serving you, and I see like such senior devotees are serving all of us. And it's like it's not just we are just coming and hearing, but for you it's so much effort to present the teaching in such a pure way, so it can impact our heart. That's glorious, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your dedication.
Thank you very much to all of you for taking your time and coming. Because how many people actually really take interest in even hearing and chanting Krishna's glory? It's actually very glorious that all of you have taken your time, decided to spend this Friday in the association of devotees. So thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for this beautiful nectar on Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. I just wanted to share that one reflection, how you summarized also, that like in all these, when Narad Muni is traveling, what he notices is that there is no, even though they are comparing, but there is no competitive spirit and no envy. But in material world, we see that these two things are the things that drive. Like the example also you gave, like there are two neighbors who got benediction, but instead of actually asking good for themselves, they actually, they were trying to bring each other down, and that's what happens even in, even though we are in a competition, we just bring each other down. But in spirituality, it's other way around. We are actually bringing each other up. We are, and I can just by your association and Mataji association, whenever we get this opportunity, we have the same realization that you both live by this principle also, that you are always glorified, even though the other Vaishnavas are glorified, but you become more joyful. And me and Prabhu always feel, that principle that we want to learn from you. So it was so nice to also thank you, Prabhuji, for living such an exemplary life, and also living by those principles so that we all can follow also. And yes, I have one question also. So Parikshit Maharaj was here. So there are in the Bhagavatam, like in some portion it says river Ganga, but some portion on the bank of the Ganges, but some portion also Prabhupada mentions that no, it is Yamuna because Hastinapur, Delhi and Yamuna is flowing. So how do we understand it? Is it?
Let me add some more confusion. Prabhupada actually mentions, I think in first canto, toward the first end of first canto or at least second canto of Bhagavatam, he says, I believe Vishnu Thakur says that it was bank of Ganga, and G. Goswami says it was bank of Yamuna. And that's what Prabhupada gives there. So I think I'll also give there. But just insight, because Yamuna is also referred sometimes as Ganga. Because you see the Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, all these rivers come from the same Manasarovar lake only. They come from same source in one way. So sometimes Yamuna is also referred as Ganga in scriptures. It's considered non-different because, especially after Allahabad, where they actually meet in Prayag, where they meet. After that, there's no Yamuna or Saraswati, there's only Ganga. There is one river. So Ganga is considered a prime river. Because Krishna also says among the rivers and Ganges from Ganga. So sometimes Yamuna is also referred as Ganga. So when you say Ganga, it could be Yamuna, but still. Similarly, we see in Lord Chaitanya's fasting. When Lord Chaitanya was tricked by Nityananda Prabhu and brought to Shantipur, Lord Chaitanya said, I thought it was Yamuna. Right? And Advaita Acharya actually gave justification that, my Lord, what you are saying is correct. Because in Prayag, the Ganga and Yamuna meet, and from there onwards, the eastern part is considered Ganga and western part is considered Yamuna. And since you have taken bath in western side of the river, you have taken bath in Yamuna. So the tempo is not wrong. So, so when you say Ganga or Yamuna, in either case, is correct.
I was remembering one point in Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta where the point was Kṛṣṇa reached Mathura, but which route he takes. And finally, Prabhu, so there are two sides. Some said he took from one side, and some said no. The side Prabhu mentioned both those things, and then finally said, "We don't care from how he went. We are happy that he reached Mathura."
Yeah, that's true, right? Doesn't matter whether it was spoken on the bank of Ganga or Bhagavatam was spoken. That's a fact.
Thank you for your wonderful class and thank you for all of you for hosting us so nicely over here today. Coincidentally, when we were coming in the morning, we were listening to Śaṅkarānanda reading Srimad Bhagavatam. He was talking about this only, of how Dhruva Maharaj was initially very driven by competition against his younger brother, and later on he laments it. So Maharaj was talking the same points as you, so I was very happy as we were to meditate more upon this. I had a question on what you said. We are happy and satisfied even though we have a higher goal. It's not that we're driven in intense competition or envy, but a lot of times, for myself personally, when I see the higher goal that someone else is doing something, my complacency takes over where it is eventually I will get there. In the aim of being satisfied where I am right now, I console myself saying eventually I'll get there. But a lot of time it becomes just complacency. So how do we make sure that, because it's a very fine line, right? So
that's a very thoughtful question. So complacency or the lack of enthusiasm. Well, especially in the devotional realm, whatever abilities we have, we understand those abilities are actually given by Kṛṣṇa. And as long as we are utilizing those abilities sincerely in the service of the Lord to its fullest extent, then the result of that dedication or putting our effort is not really in our hand. It actually depends on Kṛṣṇa and also depends on the law of karma. Okay? So sometimes our service may bring a lot of glory, or sometimes our service may not bring so much glory. Somebody else may be doing same service and receive a lot of glory, and we say, "Oh, wow, this person did so much." Now, say for example, we all may have ability to do a little kirtan, right? And somebody who may have a very good voice and does the kirtan, and everybody start liking it, right? So we think, "Oh, this person has such nice ability to do kirtan." Doesn't mean that just because I do not have that sweet voice to do the kirtan, my kirtan is going to be anyway less important. As long as I have put effort to learn nice, musical, way to offer it to Kṛṣṇa, then my singing of kirtan, even though I may not have a sweet voice, is perfectly accepted by Kṛṣṇa. There are beautiful words in Chaitanya Bhagavatam. It says, "Murkho bhagati vishnaya, dhiro bhagati vishnave, ubhavato samam punyam, bhavagrahi janadana." So Kṛṣṇa is primarily bhavagrahi. He sees our bhava, he sees our motives, how eager we are to serve him. So this verse says, Murkho bhagati vishnaya. So in Sanskrit grammar, there's a way to, pronounce certain things. Like, when we are offering something to Krishna, we say, Idam Krishnaya Namah. So, Krishna becomes Krishnaya. Idam Krishnaya Namah. So, this verse says, a fool may think, oh, Krishna becomes Krishnaya, so Vishnu will become Idam Vishnaya Namah. But no, we don't say Idam Vishnaya Namah, we say Idam Vishnave Namah. Okay? So, Murkho Padati Vishnaya. Murkha, a person who is not very conversant with rules of Sanskrit grammar, he may think, this is Vishnaya, Idam Vishnaya Namah. And Dhiro Padati Vishnave. A person who is actually learned, he may say, Idam Vishnave Namah. But, Ubhavato Samam Punyam, both will receive the same result. Not that a person who is saying Idam Vishnaya and another saying Idam Vishnave will have different results. He says, Ubhavato Samam Punyam. They both will get the same result. Why? Because Krishna sees Bhava. He does not see necessarily our skills. He sees what is our state of our consciousness. If my consciousness is, I want to offer this to Krishna to my fullest capacity, Krishna accepts it. So, as long as we have proper consciousness that I am offering this to fullest extent, Krishna will be very happy. Okay. Now, as far as sometimes feeling complacent, it could be actually in one way, I say, maybe complacent, it may not be complacent, it may be actually the person is more situated in Sattvic Guna. The passion to reach somewhere is actually the more passionate quality. I want to achieve this. So that is there in Kshatriyas. Mostly in Kshatriyas they have ability. I want to get this done. I have to do this. So that's a passionate quality. So actually really depends on individual to individual. Somebody who is more situated. In Sattvic quality, may not have that passionate quality that I want to definitely go in that direction. Listen, but somebody who has a lot of passion, that you may see that person is actually working very hard to get in that direction. How do we know whether it's, I'm utilizing all my abilities 100% in Krishna's service? As long as, I am not becoming lethargic in my devotional duties, because our lethargy in our Krishna consciousness will make us go backward in Krishna consciousness. There's no question of if you become complacent or lazy, you will stay in the same place. Because in Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness, like Srila Prabhupada mentioned, is like swimming upstream. So if you're swimming upstream, you have to put constant effort to go keep progressing upstream. If you become complacent, you will not be in the same place. You will be in the reverse, right? Because it's a upstream, you are trying to go against the current. So similarly, if in our practice of Krishna consciousness, if we are complacent, know for sure you will start reversing back, you will be going back, you will not be in the same place. So if we are progressing in Krishna consciousness, and sometimes we feel that I am a little complacent, we can evaluate first of all whether actually I am complacent or I am actually, progressing in Krishna consciousness. And another thing we can do is be in the association of those who are actually a little more enthusiastic. Because enthusiasm is also contingent. So if you are in an association of enthusiastic devotee, you may get an enthusiasm, similar enthusiasm. So, suppose for example, I give example of Kirtan. If I don't know how to do my Kirtan, somebody else is putting effort, learning musical instruments, kartal, mridanga, and harmonium, be in their association and see if you also get that content, see some what you call affliction or same disease by doing their association. So two things. One is either it could be that somebody is more sattvic in quality, or if another thing is if we are actually complacent, then be in the association of those who are more enthusiastic. Hope that answers the question.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class and all the arrangements. Thank you to Mataji. Thanks both of you. Very, very grateful. Prabhu, I have a question as you were mentioning about Sivji, that Lord Shiva, how Narad Muni was glorifying Lord Shiva. So, Prabhuji, Lord Shiva is a devotee of Ramachandra. You all know that Ram Ramiti Ramiti, Lord Shiva is saying on every time he is chanting Ram Nam. So the thing is, Prabhuji, when I came to know that Radha Kṛpā-Kataksha Stotra was explained by Lord Shiva, revealed by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. So I want to know what's the context, because Radha Tattva is very good, very confidential. So Lord Shiva is explaining such a beautiful Radha Kṛpā-Kataksha Stotra, explaining various things about Radharani. So what's the context, Prabhuji, that I want to know?
Sure. Actually, it's not that Lord Shiva is the only strong devotee of Lord Ramachandra. He actually he had eternal place in Vrindavan in as Gopeshwar Mahadev. So he had entrance into Krishna's Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta pastimes also. It's not that sometimes we think, one devotee can be only in one rasa, but no, even Hanuman, he had entrance into Krishna's Rasa Leela. You may be surprised to get that, right? How Hanuman will be learning in our next session. Hanuman has special attachment to Lord Ramachandra. But a few years back, I remember we had gone to Vrindavan to visit the temple of Radha Govinda. How many have seen Radha Govinda temple? Right? So Radha Govinda temple is on little hill, right? Little bit on the hill. So we went there, and the pujari, he actually took Govinda and myself, and of course Premanand also was there, that time very small. So he took us inside the altar, and from altar he took us inside the basement of the temple. And in the basement there is a temple of Lord Hanuman. The deity of Hanuman, which is Swayambhu Murti, he said that when they were doing the foundation of that temple, they found the deity of Hanuman there in the on the same hill from where Govindeva was. Right? Govindeva was also extracted from the ground. There's the whole Leela, right? Pastime of how Govindeva came from that hill. So while they were actually putting the foundation of the temple, that time they found the deity of Hanuman. And they put the temple of Hanuman in the basement. So on the top there is Govindeva temple, and the basement there is the Hanuman temple. Not everybody gets to see that, but he showed us the deity of Hanuman. And he said, actually Hanuman has an eternal place in Rasa Leela. We read in Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta that when Kṛṣṇa was performing Rasa Leela with the gopis, they were on the bank of river Yamuna. When they came out of the water, they came from the Yamuna river, and there was on the bank of river Yamuna, the beautiful breeze was flowing. So that breeze is nothing but Vayu. Hanuman is actually present there as in the form of the gentle breeze to serve the Lord and his associates. So he is always there, in Vrindavan, also serving Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. But he has special affection for the fasting of Lord Ramachandra. So Lord Shiva, although in Kashi he said that he always chants the name of Lord Ram, but he has his eternal place in Vrindavan also. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he composed a beautiful stotra, Shiva Stotra. In that, the last stanza he says, Shri Gauri Nitro Samangalayam Tatprananathaya Sapradayam Sada Samutkanta Govinda Leela Gana Pravinaya Namo Sutubhyam. He says, this is Lord Chaitanya's story. He says, Shri Gauri Nitro Samangalayam. Lord Shiva is the Utsava for the eye of Mother Gauri. Shri Gauri Nitro Samangalayam. Mangala, he is very auspicious for everyone. Tat Prananatha, he is the life and soul of Mother Parvati. Tat Prananathaya Rasapradaya. He offers rasa, or the joy, to Mother Parvati. How he offers rasa and joy to Mother Parvati? Sada Samutkanta Govinda Leela Gana Parinaya. His Utkanta, Sada Samutkanta. Utkanta means who is very eager to speak. So that's called Utkanta. Sada Samutkanta Govinda Leela. He is always very eager to speak the Leela of Govinda, Kṛṣṇa. Govinda Leela. Sada Samutkanta Govinda Leela. Gana Pravina. And he's also very expert at that. Pravina means very expert. So he's always eager and he's very expert at speaking the Leela of Govinda. Gana Pravina. I offer my wishes to the Lord. So it's not that Lord Shiva is exclusively in Kashi, he relishes the pastime of Lord Ramchandra. But in Vrindavan, he's exclusively dedicated to assist the Lord in his pastime, like Gopeshwar Mahadev. Hope in that sense.
Yes, thank you. Prabhu, in Navadvip also, like in Srinath, they do the same.
Yes.
And Hanumanji is also there, I don't know.
Yes, all the past, especially Lord Chaitanya's pastime, all the associates of the Lord are there. Prahlad is there, Hanuman is there, Hanuman is Murari Gupta. So, all the pastimes, in all the incarnations, the Lord's pastimes are assist the Lord's devotees. They actually assist them in different leelas. So yes, Hanuman is there in Chaitanya also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. So I have two questions. One is like the logistical question for Narad Guru. So, like I know in the later in the book, like he'll go to Pandavas and Hanumanji. So I wanted to know how he's able to go to all these places. Is it because in different universes, as we know, there are always different yugas are there. That's why he's able to like go to ask the question in different yugas, like sequentially. And the other question is,
let's finish the concept. There is no concept of time machine here. First of all, Narada's visit to all these personalities is, as per the historical record, is 5,000 years ago. This journey is 5,000 years ago. Okay. That time, so it's not that Prahlad doesn't live anymore. Prahlad is still living in Sukarloka. Okay. Hanuman is still living in Kim Purusha Varsha, in Bhumandal. In Bhumandal, there is a Varsha called Kim Purusha Varsha, right? Within this Jambu Dvipa, there are 9 Varshas. So we are living in Bharatakhanda of Bharatvarsha, right? So next to Bharatvarsha is Kim Purusha Varsha, right next to it. So that is geographically Jambu Dvipa. So Hanuman lives in the Kim Purusha Varsha, and he's still living there. So after Lord Ramchandra left Ayodhya, and he went to Vaikuntha Ayodhya he went. He left Hanuman behind. Hanuman has been living in Kim Purusha Varsha since then. So he's still there. So this is within this universe only. So, makes sense?
Yeah. And the second question is, like you mentioned, when he was going to all these exalted personalities, everyone was like praising the other, like not and saying that they are more merciful. So, like as a devotee, we also get to see this. Like we think if someone is getting more mercy, like they're singing very nicely or getting blessings from Maharaj. So we although we are very happy for that person, but there is always this thought which comes in our mind. Obviously, when I will get that, and I should also have that. So it's basically we not exactly envy, but so I know that as we progress more in devotional life, this will go away. But until it goes away, at that moment, when these thoughts come, how should we counter that? Like, what should we force our mind to think that, so that, we feel not in that direction, but until it goes away from our heart.
So, when I was talking about those two things, right? Competitive and envy. Out of two, being competitive is still okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still okay. What is not desirable is envy. So, if you are seeing somebody else having better mercy and you aspire, oh, I should also have like this, nothing wrong. That's what actually my school teacher used to say. Risa, Tika, Rusa. Being competitive is okay. You want to, this person is doing so well, I also want to be like him. She's doing so nice, I want to be like her. That's fine. There's nothing wrong in that. But try to pull somebody else down, that is something we should deliberately and consciously try to avoid. So, being competitive is not necessarily bad, as long as it does not lead to envy. Because you are trying to have some betterment only. There's nothing wrong in that. Make sense?
Sure. Thank you.
Actually, just to conclude, I remember in 90s, when we used to live when I used to live in the ashram, the Bṛhad temple. I remember one time, December month, there used to be a lot of competition between different temples. There are 3 temples in Mumbai. So, Bṛhad temple, Juhu temple, and Mirabai temple. So, there used to be a lot of competition for food distribution. And all 3 temples do tremendous amount of contribution. So, I remember once, as I was Radha Swami Maharaj, he mentioned in the Sunday feast class, he said, we have to do excellent distribution. We have to put all our effort to do the best of our ability. But he said, when we come in front of Radha Govinda, we should pray that, my Lord, give us so much capacity that we can do maximum distribution. But, my Lord, please make sure that the other temples, they should do one book more than us. Or maybe 100 books more than us. Let them do more than us. He said, if you have this kind of attitude, then what happens is, you are doing the best of your ability. You are doing tremendous, wonderful effort. But somebody else is also doing. And what is happening as a result is, more and more conditioned souls are receiving the books of Srila Prabhupada. They are getting benefited. Right? So, it's a benefit for all the masses. It's not important that I have to be winner. If I can be winner, it's okay. If I can be winner, that's okay. But I should put all my effort, 100%. But my prayer should be, my Lord, give me excellent capacity to do best, but at the same time, others should do better than me. Make sense? And that actually transforms the consciousness into Vaikuntha consciousness. Just imagine, imagine if in your workplace, everybody is having that consciousness. Everybody thinks like, oh, well, I should get promotion, but everybody in my team should get better promotion than me. Just imagine. Your whole office will become Vaikuntha. But you don't get to see that. If I had to get promotion means others should not. Make sense? So I think we'll stop here for lunch. Thank you very much.
We have something more.
Yes.
So there's a good news and a bad news. Good news is that Mataji has made a very elaborate prasadam, lunch and all, and there's a setting of the table. The bad news is stomach is full. What we'll do is Brajendra Gopal Prabhu will do a kirtan, and we can stand, we can stretch ourselves, we can dance. so that some space is created. And
Let's do dancing Kirtan.
yeah.
All the dancing.
And after that we'll have the Shadi.
Yeah.